Look, I always knew my daughter was special, but nobody else saw it, especially my parents. They were absolutely certain she had some problem, some developmental delay. Meanwhile, my nephew Lucas was treated like an absolute genius, the family prodigy. Everything he did was cause for celebration. Everything my daughter Sophia did was cause for concern. But I always believed in her, and today I'm going to tell you how this whole story started, and most importantly, how it ended. It all started when Sophia was about 3 years old. She was always a very calm child, very observant. She'd spend hours playing alone, putting together puzzles, drawing, looking at books, even though she couldn't read yet. But she didn't talk much, and that worried everyone. My mom was the first to plant the seed of doubt. This girl doesn't say anything. Have you taken her to a doctor? I think something's wrong. My dad agreed with everything. Lucas, at her age, was already speaking full sentences, already knew the whole alphabet. Ugh, Lucas, my nephew, my older sister Amanda's son. He was born 6 months before Sophia, and since then, he became the center of my parents' universe. Everything was about Lucas. Lucas can already count to 100. Lucas already recognizes all the colors. Lucas, Lucas, Lucas. I tried not to care, tried to focus on my daughter, on her pace, but it was hard, especially on Sunday lunches at my parents' house. Every week it was the same thing. My mom would arrive with a new toy for Lucas. Look what Grandma brought for my smart grandson. Meanwhile, Sophia stayed there in the corner, playing with the old toys that were already at the house. One specific Sunday stuck in my memory. Sophia was 4 years old. She was sitting in the living room, putting together a 200-piece puzzle. 200 pieces, people. And she was doing it alone, focused, without asking anyone for help. My dad walked past her and didn't even look. He went straight to Lucas, who was watching cartoons on TV. "So, champ, how was school this week? Did you learn new things?" Lucas, all excited, started talking about the letters he was learning. My parents were delighted, clapping, making a fuss. Meanwhile, Sophia finished the entire puzzle, alone, in silence. I showed my mom. "Mom, look what Sophia did." She took a quick look. "Oh, how nice, but that's for her age, right? Lucas already puts together much harder puzzles." My heart sank, but I took a deep breath and let it go. Things only got worse when Sophia started school. She was 5 years old, and the teachers started calling me for meetings. Sophia is very quiet. She doesn't interact much with the other children. She spends a lot of time alone, observing. I asked if she was having difficulty with the content. No, she does all the activities perfectly, even too fast, actually. But we're concerned about this lack of socialization. I told my parents this, thinking they would support me, tell me it was normal, that each child has their own way. But no, I knew something was wrong with that girl, my mom said, shaking her head. You need to take her to a specialist. It could be autism. It could be some cognitive delay. Mom, the teacher said she does everything perfectly. She's just more reserved. Reserved? She's 5 years old. Kids that age have to be talkative, have to play with friends. Lucas is super sociable. All the teachers love him. And there came Lucas again. My sister Amanda didn't help at all. She fed this behavior from my parents. Every achievement of Lucas's, no matter how small, became an event. Mom, Dad, Lucas got a 10 on his math quiz. And then there was a celebratory dinner, cake, presents. Meanwhile, when Sophia brought home incredible drawings, super detailed paintings, nobody paid much attention. "Oh, how pretty, put it on the fridge there." But you know what made me saddest? Seeing Sophia notice this. She was a child, but she wasn't dumb. She saw the difference in treatment, saw her grandparents showering her cousin with attention and affection while she was practically invisible. One day she asked me, "Mom, why doesn't Grandma like me?" My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. "Honey, Grandma does like you." "No, she doesn't. She only likes Lucas. Everyone only likes Lucas." I hugged my daughter and cried. I cried because I couldn't protect her from this. I cried because my own family was making my daughter feel inferior, inadequate, unloved. I had a serious talk with my parents that day. "You need to stop this. You're hurting Sophia. She notices that you treat her differently from Lucas." My dad rolled his eyes. "Ugh, stop exaggerating. We treat everyone the same." "No, you don't. Everything Lucas does becomes an event. Everything Sophia does goes unnoticed." My mom sighed. "Look, we don't do it on purpose, but it's just that Lucas is really exceptional. He's a super intelligent boy, super smart. Sophia, poor thing, she does what she can, right?" "Poor thing?" She called my daughter poor thing? "Sophia isn't poor anything," I said, trying to stay calm. "She's intelligent, creative, talented. You just don't pay attention." Amanda, who was there too, entered the conversation. "Look, nobody's talking badly about your daughter, but let's be honest here. Lucas really stands out. He's in the advanced students program at his school. He's already learning content from 2 years ahead. And you think that gives you the right to ignore Sophia?" "Nobody's ignoring anyone," my dad said. "You're just being too sensitive." I gave up arguing that day, but I made a decision. I would reduce the visits. I wouldn't expose my daughter to this toxic environment every week. The years went by, Sophia grew up, continued being that quiet, observant girl, but extremely intelligent. I saw this at home, saw how she learned everything quickly, how she understood complex concepts easily, how she had an incredible memory. But at school, she continued being the quiet girl. The teachers always spoke well of her at meetings, said she was an excellent student, but there was always that but. But she could participate more, but she could socialize more. Meanwhile, Lucas continued being everyone's favorite. My parents went to all his school presentations, all his soccer games, all his science fairs. When Sophia had something at school, they always had an excuse. "Oh, we can't that day, but send photos later." On Sophia's 10th birthday, my parents arrived with a small, simple present, a generic doll. Sophia thanked them politely, but I saw the disappointment in her eyes. 2 weeks later, on Lucas's birthday, my parents gave him a new, super expensive video game that he'd been asking for months. Sophia saw. She always saw everything. "Mom, I wanted a video game too," she told me that night. "I know, honey. When we can, we'll buy you one." "But Grandma bought one for Lucas." "I know. Why doesn't she buy me the same things?" And there I was again without an answer, without a way to explain to my daughter why her own grandparents treated her as less important. But you know what Sophia did? She didn't keep lamenting. She grabbed her books, her puzzles, the logic games she loved, and continued being herself, quiet, observant, brilliant. When Sophia was 12 years old, a new teacher arrived at her school, math teacher, Dr. Carvalho. She called me for a meeting a month after she started teaching. My heart sank. Here came another conversation about how Sophia was too quiet, about how she needed to socialize more. But that wasn't it. "I want to talk to you about Sophia," she began. "This girl is extraordinary." I blinked, surprised. "What?" "Extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it in 20 years of my career. The way she solves complex mathematical problems, the speed of her reasoning, the ability to visualize solutions, it's on another level." My heart started racing. "Really?" "Absolutely. I would like to recommend that she take an IQ test. I'm certain she's way above average." I left that meeting on cloud 9. I got home and told Sophia. She gave that shy little smile of hers. "I like math. You're incredible at math, honey." I scheduled the test. It was private, kind of expensive, but I was going to make it happen. My daughter deserved it. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone in the family. I didn't want to hear comparisons with Lucas. I didn't want to hear skepticism. I didn't want to hear anything that could diminish this moment for my daughter. Sophia took the test on a Saturday morning. It was 4 hours of assessments, puzzles, logic games, verbal and nonverbal tests. She came out tired, but calm. 2 weeks later, we received the result. I opened the envelope with trembling hands. I read it once, I read it twice, I read it 3 times. IQ of 156. Genius. My daughter was officially a genius. I sat on the floor and cried. I cried with happiness, I cried with relief, I cried thinking about all those years my parents called her slow, poor thing, problematic. Sophia hugged me. "Mom, why are you crying?" "Because I always knew you were special, honey. I always knew you were special." Dr. Carvalho called me when she found out the result. I knew it. I knew she was exceptional. Look, there's a special program here at school, very exclusive. It's for students with high abilities. I would really like to recommend Sophia. It was a program that happened outside normal class hours. Twice a week, Sophia would have advanced classes in math, physics, chemistry, programming, with university professors, with state-of-the-art equipment. Sophia agreed right away, and she flourished. For the first time, I saw my daughter excited about school. She'd come home talking about differential equations, about algorithms, about quantum physics. The months went by. Sophia continued in the special program, continued standing out. She won a state math competition, then a national one. But I didn't say anything to my family. This was ours, mine and Sophia's. Our moment, our achievements. Until the day of the school's annual awards ceremony arrived. It was a big event where they recognized the best students in various categories: academic performance, sports, arts, behavior. I received a special invitation from the principal. "Your presence is very important. Sophia is going to receive a very special recognition." I asked what it was, but she didn't want to tell me. "It's a surprise, but I guarantee you'll want to be there." I wasn't going to miss this for anything. I asked for time off work, bought a new outfit for Sophia, got my best outfit ready. On the day of the event, when we were leaving the house, my cell phone rang. It was my mom. "Are you going to Lucas's school awards ceremony today?" I had completely forgotten it was the same day. "No, Mom, I'm going to Sophia's awards ceremony." "Oh." The tone of disappointment was clear. "Well, your dad and I will be there for Lucas. He's going to receive the Student of the Year award." "Good for him. Bye, Mom." I arrived at Sophia's school auditorium. It was packed. Parents, teachers, students. The event started with the smaller categories: best performance in Portuguese, in history, in physical education. Sophia was sitting with me, calm as always, but I noticed she was nervous. Her fingers were drumming on the chair. "Is everything okay, honey?" "I'm just anxious." The categories kept going. Sophia was called a few times. She received a medal for best performance in math for the year, best performance in science. I was bursting with pride. But then the principal got on stage again. "And now we arrive at the most important category of the night, a category that recognizes not just academic excellence, but extraordinary potential." My heart started beating faster. This year, for the first time in 53 years of our institution's history, we had a student who broke all records. A student who not only stood out in all areas, but who also presented the highest IQ ever recorded among our students. People started whispering. I held Sophia's hand. With immense pride, we announced that the award for maximum excellence and highest IQ in the institution's history goes to Sophia. The auditorium exploded in applause. I started crying right away. Sophia stood up, still calm, but I saw the sparkle in her eyes. She went on stage. The principal placed a special medal around her neck, handed her a huge trophy, and started talking about her achievements: the IQ of 156, the national competitions she won, the projects she developed. People were standing, applauding. My daughter, who spent years being called slow, was there on stage being recognized as the brightest student that school ever had. When Sophia came down from the stage, I hugged her so tight I almost crushed her. "I'm so proud of you, honey, so proud." We were leaving the auditorium when I heard familiar voices. Excuse me, pardon me." I turned around. My parents were there, pushing through the crowd. Amanda was with them, and Lucas with his face down. My heart sank.
"What are you doing here?" My mom was out of breath. We heard someone posted on Facebook about the awards ceremony, about Sophia." My dad looked at Sophia, at the huge trophy she was holding. "Is it true? You won the award for highest IQ in the school's history?" Sophia looked at them. Her face was neutral. "Yes." Amanda seemed to be in shock. But how? You never said anything." "Because nobody ever really asked," I answered, my voice firm. My mom approached Sophia, her eyes full of tears. "My granddaughter, I didn't know you were so intelligent, so special." She opened her arms to hug Sophia. Sophia took a step back. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice calm but cutting. The silence that fell was deafening. My mom stopped, her arms still open. "What? Sophia, I'm your grandmother." "Grandmother? Funny, because in the last few years you barely knew I existed. So now that I won an award, now that everyone's applauding me, you remember you're my grandparents?" Tears started falling from my mom's face. "Sophia, I'm sorry. We made mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes." My dad tried to speak too. "We didn't realize. We were unfair to you." Sophia looked at them for a long moment. Then she looked at Lucas, who was there, quiet, embarrassed. And you know what she did? She approached him and extended her hand. "Congratulations on your achievements, Lucas, really." Lucas shook her hand, surprised. "Thanks, and congratulations to you too. This award is incredible." Sophia gave a half smile. Then she looked back at my parents. "Look, I don't hold a grudge against you, but I'm also not going to pretend everything's okay. You spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough, that I was problematic, slow, inferior. And my mom," she looked at me with so much love that my heart melted. "My mom was always on my side, always believed in me even when nobody else did." I held her hand. "So no," Sophia continued, "you can't just show up here now and want hugs and celebration. You lost that. You lost years of really knowing me, of seeing who I really am, and that was your choice." My mom sobbed. "Sophia, please, let us make it up to you. Let us be part of your life." Sophia thought for a moment. "Maybe, someday, but it has to be real. Not because I won an award, not because now I'm special in your eyes, but because you really want to know me, want to be present." My dad nodded, wiping his own tears. "We will, we promise." I didn't say anything. I just watched. I watched my daughter, 13 years old, setting boundaries, defending herself, demanding respect. I watched my parents finally realizing the damage they'd done. I watched Amanda still processing that the niece she always ignored was in fact more brilliant than her own son. And you know what? I was at peace. Because regardless of what happened now, regardless if my parents changed or not, I had raised an incredible girl. A girl who knew her worth, who didn't accept crumbs of affection, who demanded to be treated with dignity. We left that auditorium, Sophia holding her trophy, me holding my daughter, and I knew that no matter how many medals she won or didn't win, no matter what her IQ was, she would always be my greatest achievement. Because in the end, it wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was about Sophia knowing her own worth. And now she knew. In the following months, my parents really tried. They started showing up more, asking about her life, about her projects. There was still that kind of awkward way. There were still moments when I noticed they didn't quite know how to relate to her, but it was better. Sophia was generous. She gave them chances. She let them in little by little, but always on her terms, in her time. And Lucas? He and Sophia ended up getting close. They discovered they had a lot in common. He even asked her for help with math sometimes. The dynamic changed completely. As for me, I learned that sometimes we need to protect our children even from our own family. I learned that believing in your child, even when the whole world doubts, makes all the difference. And I learned that quiet, observant children, who everyone thinks are strange, are often the ones paying the most attention to everything. Sophia is 14 years old today. She's at a new school, more advanced, where she's finally being challenged the way she deserves. She's already studying university-level content. Teachers say she has a future in any field she chooses. But you know what makes me most proud? It's not her IQ, it's not the awards, it's not the medals. It's seeing that she's kind, humble, empathetic. Even after everything she went through, she didn't become bitter. She just became stronger. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel.